You're Adrian.
Dude, I ain't no Adrian, but
You want to make a top 10 list of Sylvester Stallone movies?
well, we did mention once that we are gonna do this because I haven't seen enough Stallone movies. But you know what? I've seen a whole bunch of them. Like, yeah, there's a few movies that I've missed, but I think I've seen the most important ones, the best ones, the cream of the crop.
The ones that stick out the most.
The ones that are the only ones that stick out, because the other ones not many people have seen. I checked the IMDb scores, I checked like how many people rated. Those are, well, I mean, they are known movies, but you know what? It's like, I don't think we missed much, but who knows? Maybe eventually we're gonna see all of his movies, but until then, till that time...
I did watch all his movies.
Well, then you're better than even Rhinestone?
I watched all his... There was like the soft porn ones that he did. I did not do that one.
Okay, I did not need to hear that.
I do not plan to.
I did not hear... I am gonna pretend I didn't hear that one.
What a guy does with his pride parts is...
Whatever,
not
man.
another man's business.
Dude, let's get back on topic. So, wearing basketball jerseys, and Stallone did a bunch of sports movies in his lifetime. The least of which is one that made it to my top 10 list, but that's neither here nor there,
I don't know
man.
what you're doing with the honorable mentions.
You know what? I think because of I think when we come to certain movies, I may talk about certain my honorable mentions simply because all of his movies are so similar. I'm not gonna say they kind of blend together, because some of them do in certain ways, and we start talking about them, you'll know why.
Back in the 90s, you had the action movies were kind of copycats of the other action movies.
Yeah, but you know what? None of
did.
his 90s action movies made it to my list. Well, one 90s movie did, but it's not an action movie. And people...
Just say no. I mean, we're talking about a guy who has about 70 movies to his credit. So you can make the top 10 list. We did not...
And he's still making movies.
Yeah, he's still doing it. Thank God.
And we're gonna be talking about more about him making more movies later.
Yeah.
But
basically, there won't be any honorable mentions even for me. I don't like putting together this list like many other lists. Had I done it 5 minutes later, it would have been different. So putting honorable mentions, it would just take too long. I'd probably list all the movies that I like that did not make the top 10.
yeah.
So we're not doing it. We're just jumping straight into the top 10.
Starting with your number 10, we're doing it 10 to 6, and then we talk about 5 to 3, and then the 1 and 2. So what's your number 10?
Assassins.
Okay, that one didn't make it on my list. I don't think I've even seen it.
Here's the thing, you have Stallone plays an assassin for hire, of course.
Of course.
And there's a younger assassin played by Antonio Banderas, who's trying to get who's basically getting his skills, his jobs. He kind of steals them, gets paid, and the whole thing kind of. But he appears to be smarter, more cunning. He knows exactly how Stallone operates. So there's a fun aspect to it, and it all culminates.
So is it like action comedy, or is it more action?
No, it's just more action. Like, you know.
There's a comedy element to it, but
not that much.
okay.
It's straight up action movie, and the whole thing kind of pulls into the whole face-off they have at the end of the movie. Really fun stuff.
Okay.
Probably one of those Stallone movies that really sticks out to me.
I missed that one.
A lot.
I'm gonna have to.
It's
I'm
a great
gonna
movie.
have to catch up on that.
You know, could have been. Here's the thing: everything on this list, like from 5 to 10, could have really been.
Okay.
It was like either way.
Okay, man.
Coming in number 9 is Lockup.
Lockup.
I don't know. It's
on the same spot, so
it's number 9. So Lockup. Stallone plays a truck driver.
No, that's not Lockup.
No, sorry. Wrong movie.
Lockup
is the one where he is in prison.
Yeah.
He's a couple of, I don't know, I think even months away from being released.
I think so, yeah. I think it's a month or 2, yeah.
Really short time.
Like 60 days, something like that.
Yeah, not a lot of time. I don't even know how he ended up in prison, honestly, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But basically, Donald Sutherland plays the warden who has it out for him. So basically, he moves him to the maximum security portion of the prison or something like that, and stuff happens after that.
Acting wise,
people try to kill him. Whole lot of stuff.
Acting wise, I think this is one of his better movies. Just acting wise, because there was something in his character that he had to portray emotionally with his face, and wasn't kind of stuff that he did before necessarily, or not as much.
Yeah.
And Lockup is this heavy movie that I watched a bunch of times, but it's a hard movie to watch. There's this scene where he's locked up in a solitary confinement in this box, and they shine a light into his face after not seeing daylight for...
they do stuff.
They torture him.
It's graphic.
Very graphic.
I don't know what he got categorized back when it came out, but it's graphic.
Definitely.
Really is. But it really is one of his better performances.
Definitely. And it's definitely a movie to watch.
It's probably a low when it comes, like, definitely could have been one of those that could have been higher on this list.
Yeah, I think Lockup is definitely a movie that's more appreciated here than in some other part, because whenever I hear people speaking about Stallone, Lockup rarely comes up. Copland is the movie that usually comes up, but to me, Lockup is a lot
better.
Definitely.
It really is. I loved it more.
Even though Copland is a good movie, acting wise, Stallone did a great job, and yeah. So what's your number 8?
Daylight. Probably not on your list.
No, I don't even know why this is on your list. It's not that good of a movie, man.
When I rewatched a couple of years ago, I basically went through the list and I rewatched all of the Stallone's movies. That's when I said when I watched all these movies.
Okay.
I did it. I just went through them. Like I found a Stallone movie and I watched it, and Daylight really stuck out. I mean, you can say that it's your typical action movie, but it really isn't.
Oh, man.
So I can't remember, because this was a while ago. I can't remember whether he was a fireman or a paramedic.
He was.
I think he might have been paramedic or something.
No,
here's the thing.
He was. Listen, man.
He was doing something public servant. Basically, it's New York, set up in New York in a tunnel. There's a disaster, some kind of disaster strikes. And
there was an earthquake.
Yeah, and the tunnel gets blocked off on both sides. Basically, next thing you know, gas starts pouring in, water starts leaking in, and there's a whole bunch of people stuck in the tunnel, and they gotta get out.
And there's a gun, and there's a hostage situation, and it just...
The whole thing kind of escalates, but through it all, you basically see Stallone's point of view as he's trying to basically control the situation with the gun and the hostage, and trying to find a way to get
contact the guys
out.
outside as well at the same time, which is, I think,
fun. It's
excuse the pun, but it was a little over the top for me. Okay,
it wasn't. I liked it. It was everything you want to see in an action movie. He had action.
Yeah. Not inside
that was the point of 90s action movies. It had action.
Man. Demolition Man is a much better movie in my opinion. But
that's why it's higher on my list.
At least
but
something.
Still,
what's your number 7?
I like Daylight, man. Probably another one that did not make it on your list. I'm guessing Cliffhanger.
Nope. Nope.
How does Cliffhanger not make it to your list?
It just doesn't.
What's not to like about that movie? I mean, it might scare you off climbing, but other than that...
what's the villain? Chris Charles...
Who?
The guy who plays the villain.
Michael Rooker?
No, not Michael, the older dude.
John Lockup?
Yeah, John Lithgow. Listen, man, great performances, good action. I like the suspense, but to me, just Cliffhanger is...
Come on, you got everything. There's snowy mountains, the falling off cliffs, there's nitroglycerin that's about to explode if it gets
It's just a little bit too long for me, okay? It should have been a little bit short. It's just a little bit too long. Okay, that's it.
It's 1993 action movie. He has action. And it's not
that much,
they didn't really copycat it, they actually tried to put a good story in. I liked it.
Okay, what's your number 6?
Demolition Man. When I was young, you know, with the sleeping situation being what it is, and mom and dad used to watch movies, and we peaked a lot watching movies we really shouldn't have when we were kids. Demolition Man was one of those movies, and I remember when I was a kid, peeking at the TV screen without my parents knowing, it struck me. Like, I didn't know who Stallone was, I did not know who Wesley Snipes was, but I liked that movie.
Did you know who Sandra Bullock was? I think we've seen
I'm not sure.
Speed.
We probably saw Speed, so we're like, oh, this is the girl from Speed. But we were way too. I mean, this is '93.
Yeah, but we saw that
came
movie
out like
much
in
later,
'95 or something when we
We've
watched
seen
it
that
on
movie much later.
VHS. You're talking about maybe a 10-year-old kid. I
Let's
liked
say
everything.
10 to 13,
I
just
liked
to make
everything
sure.
about this movie. I mean, you have a cop, you have a bad guy. They get frozen, and well, how long? 100 years later, they get woken up.
Something like that, yeah.
And while Wesley Snipes has been programmed to know every fighting move, how to handle every weapon, Stallone learned how to knit.
Yeah.
He can make a sweater, man.
Because his grandma taught him.
Yeah.
But fun fact
the-
about the movie, in the European, or at least in the international and US version, Taco Bell is the fast food that took over the world. In European version, it's Pizza Hut. So just a fun fact there. But yeah, Wesley Snipes, just
sticks out, and then
definitely.
it just goes action.
One of the best time travel movies ever, in my opinion.
The three-shell thing, you know. Thank God we got paper in our shells. I still have no idea how those shells function, man.
Coming in with my number 10. I don't know if this one made it to your list, but Tango and Cash, man.
It did a little bit higher.
They're a little bit high. Okay, we'll talk about it then.
A little
But
bit higher.
number 9, Lockup. We already talked about it. Dude, don't pick at my list, man. Don't pick
I
at my
want to
list.
see if my...
Dude, no. Coming in at number 8. I don't know if this one made it. Probably did. It should have. It's First Blood. There's a reason why it's not higher on my list, but we'll get to that point eventually.
I actually, while it's not my favorite Rambo movie, it's not on my list, just saying.
Okay, so let's talk about First Blood then.
While it's not my favorite Rambo movie, that would probably be Rambo 2. Rambo, First Blood basically is a lot better than...
Most of his movies, actually, especially action movies.
Because when you look at the whole situation, he's a war vet coming back
From Vietnam, yeah.
from Vietnam.
He's on PTSD.
Like
and
really like
bad,
PTSD on steroids.
yeah,
man.
definitely.
And basically being chased by, what's the cop's name?
I have no idea, man.
He's everywhere. Even today you can see him places. Even he did a heck of a job with the movie. Basically,
No,
just,
the movie is based on a book, but
yeah.
listen,
But
it's
the whole thing is just
it's
like
a graphic jungle meets small town USA, and it's just non-stop. He goes. I mean, it's
thrilling, it's suspenseful,
it's bloody, it's everything an action movie should be, but with not as many bullets, simply because he uses a knife and arrows and just makes sure he does traps and booby traps and all kinds of different...
He uses his environment.
Yeah,
his advantage.
definitely. And
But the whole thing is just one big game.
and the movie is shot in nature, which only adds to it. So it's like, to me, it's number 8. Why it's not higher, for various reasons that I don't want to go into. But you'll see as my list starts forming more and more. Coming in number 7, it's The Expendables 2.
Not on my list. The list is not the 2.
Okay, The Expendables 2 to me is the best of the Expendables movies.
Because Chuck Norris shows up.
Because Chuck Norris shows up, because we get more Arnie, because Jean-Claude Van Damme is a much better villain than Eric Roberts. And the action is better in the movie. The fight between Van Damme and Stallone is better than Eric Roberts' fight, which there wasn't any fight. It was basically a gun match, which is okay.
Here's the thing.
But we don't get enough Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first movie at all. So it's like we get more Arnie in this movie, more puns. We get much better Dolph Lundgren puns, especially after the first movie.
He's a pirate.
Yeah, he was hanging the pirate. This one he was making the bomb. And so yeah, they are both PG-13. Let's not kid ourselves. But the Expendables 2 was much better. We could argue why maybe Expendables 3 is a worse or better movie to some degree, but to me Expendables 2 sticks out. So I don't know.
I prefer Chuck Norris.
And we talked before, like Stallone is still making movies. This movie came at the, I don't know what you would call it, but like this dude is getting up there in years. Like he's not getting any younger. Neither is Arnold Schwarzenegger, neither is Jean-Claude Van Damme, neither is any of those guys.
That's one of the reasons why Expendables is on my list, but a little bit higher, and then I'm gonna get to that when we get
No
to
problem.
my list.
Okay.
Coming in at
Number
six.
6. And this is where my list takes a turn. So it's like, this movie, like this will tell you how the rest of my list is gonna go on. It's
Okay.
Driven. This is an underrated, underseen, and underappreciated movie. It's about an old Formula 1 racer.
I'm not even sure it's Formula 1.
It is,
They're
but they don't
racing
call
some
it that.
formulas,
It's because they race all around the world. It's not.
I tried to squeeze Driven into mine. I just couldn't. I love the movie. When I watched it the first time and I watched it the second time, I
This
loved it
is
even more.
probably the first Formula 1 movie I've ever seen, maybe. And Burt Reynolds is in this movie playing an old veteran. Yeah, he's playing a coach, but he used to drive as well. And we have, I forgot who plays the young dude who's on the scene, and Stallone is brought in to kind of rein him in, show him
the ropes.
not showing the ropes,
yeah.
but get him on the right path. Because this
He's a hotshot young, he thinks he owns the world.
but he doesn't really. And
So Bert brings Stallone in to rein him in.
yeah, that's what I said. And so yeah, Driven to me is a great movie. Always love seeing it whenever it's on cable or TV. It's there, I'm gonna watch it. And for someone who grew up on Formula 1 races every Sunday, I think this movie...
Kip Purdue played the young kid.
Anyways, this movie is great. Has great... I mean, the races in this movie are top notch. I think
There's even the whole driving through the city street scene.
Yeah,
like,
which is just amazing.
they're switching
On streets
lanes,
of
going
Toronto,
through
yeah.
traffic.
Yeah, and I think they did it with the real FIA people, or at least it was, you know, coordinated, whatever, man. They did really good job with this movie, and I hope more people see it after this. They see this video. If they have, you gotta see this movie. That's my number 6.
Coming in at number 5 for me is Tango and Cash.
Tango and Cash.
I put it at number 5 just because it's Tango.
But to me, it's a typical 80s action movie, buddy cop action movie with Kurt Russell and
Sylvester Stallone played 2 cops who got set up and sent to prison, where basically they put everybody who's there in prison, they put him there.
Yeah.
Kurt put half of them, Stallone put the other half. And everybody's out together.
Everybody's out together. They're in for their lives. They
gotta clear their names, all by being chased by everybody.
And they gotta stay alive. So it's a fun.
Yeah, like you said, it's a buddy cop comedy, but it's a good one.
Definitely.
It's a good one. Hence the number 5.
And number 10 on my list, but if I could, I'd put it higher.
Coming in number 4, Expendables.
Expendables. Okay.
Why are Expendables this high? Here's the thing. By this point, you haven't seen a lot of them. Arnie has been the governor, so he didn't do movies. Van Damme dropped somewhere. I have no idea where. Terry Crews, I didn't even know he was still acting. He probably wasn't acting. Basically, Dolph was, I think he was doing the 6th or 7th installment of the Universal Soldier, or might have been number 9, I'm not sure, don't quote me. Probably 15, but you know, and probably like 4D, because you know, Jaws in 3Ds.
Yeah.
So basically, you had a whole list of people who haven't been around for a while, who basically got their names in late 80s and 90s action.
Some of them.
Action
this
movies.
Is why these movies were made, to bring the old action stars back together and
listen,
one
the
big
first
swoop.
Trailer for this one was explosions and names.
Exactly.
And that's all you actually needed, because you knew who these guys were.
Yep.
So when you saw the explosions, when you saw the names, you're like, okay, I gotta go see this.
Yep.
Because it made perfect sense to go see this movie, because you know it's gonna be there's gonna be some comedy in it, but it's gonna be mostly action.
Fun
it's gonna
action.
be funny.
Yeah.
There's gonna be stuff
gonna
in
be
this.
fun.
You're gonna have puns, one-liners.
Yeah, Bruce Willis was in this movie
everything,
as well.
yeah, everything you liked about these movies.
Well, in both of them actually.
Yeah.
in a way.
You knew what you were getting, hence you went and saw it, but you did something else. You brought these guys back into the spotlight, if you can call it like that, because they were at this point the action movies, they weren't exactly.
We have action movies, but
they were different than what they were back then. You had younger kids taking their place and everything, and you were like, that's why you always loved going back to the old action movies, even if they were considered being stupid,
campy or stupid action.
You
dumb,
still
fun
watched
movies.
it,
yeah,
because they were
fun.
good movies. You enjoyed it. You grew up on them, so you. The Expendables, the first one, he brought it all back. He made them relevant again to the point where they're still making movies. You know, Bruce Willis, I think there's a Die Hard number 7 coming out. Something to really look forward to.
6.
I think he goes into space on this one because he actually blew up everything. New York, Russia, he went places. You had to send him to space at some point. But these actors, all of a sudden, they're bringing them back. They're making more movies with them. Like, okay, we didn't have Antonio Banderas before, but you know what? We can bring him into a movie.
I remember the last time I've seen Antonio Banderas,
he
and
did
then
Puss in
Expendables.
Boots.
Yeah, Expendables 3 comes around, and he's
like,
in there.
okay, the dude can still act. Let's bring him back. That's why Expendables on this list. Not the second one, not the third one, but the first one.
Yeah, dude.
Because he reinvented their careers. He relaunched them. He made them relevant.
Yeah, and Stallone did the Escape Plan later, and Arnie's doing movies, man. Like
and they're doing
the
Escape Plan 2. They're
yeah.
doing Escape Plan 3, and Arnie doing something with Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be that's Chinese production. I'm not sure how.
Still gonna watch it.
Oh, definitely.
So.
I think that may even be out already. So
now my second and third one were tricky because they're practically the same movie.
So what's your third one? Is it Rocky?
No, it's Creed.
Okay. Okay, Creed is at my number 3, so we can talk about it.
Okay. Dedicate your number.
But we'll talk about it later, simply because it's simply because.
So coming in at your number 5.
Coming in my number 5, always also overlooked movie, underseen, underappreciated, is Over the Top. I love this movie. It's not just about truck driver going and finding his son. It's just about.
And you brought the whole arm wrestling thing, and then there's the grandpa who's trying to keep the kid away from Stallone.
Yeah, that too. And Stallone wants to go and make enough money so he can start his own job.
Hence he's going to the arm wrestling world championship.
Which is also a cool thing to see, because I've never seen that in a movie.
No, it was a totally different spin on it. Like a truck driver who's trying to get his son back while his grandpa is trying to keep him from it. And
not just getting back, he took him away from the Army Academy because the kid is 12 years old. And so after his mom died, he gets sent off there because the grandpa doesn't want him living with his truck driving dad. So it was like, this whole movie is just nice one, not just one nice road trip, but it's just nice big story, heartfelt, and it's just one of his better movies.
You know what sticks with me the most? During the competition, there was this guy who drank motor oil. I'll never forget that scene.
I think it was Russian.
Wouldn't surprise me. And there was and Stallone's attachment to the eagle on the front of the truck.
Yeah, because his last name is Hawk.
Yeah,
so
Hawk,
that's also one of the reasons I love this movie. So yeah,
one I really wanted to put on my list.
You should have, man.
But you know,
it's better than Daylight.
Trying to figure out who I'm gonna squeeze out.
It's better than Daylight. You should have put Daylight out, man. Lights Out. Coming in at number 4. Oh, dude, I don't know if this one made it on your list, but this is his one movie from the 90s that is on my list. That is not an action movie. It's sort of a comedy. Well, it is a comedy. It's also parody. It's also
Oscar.
It's Oscar. Yeah, it's Oscar.
Didn't make it on my list. Dude, another one. You know, it's so fun.
I would dare say this is probably my favorite Stallone movie too, but you know what? I just had to come in number 4 for reasons we'll talk about later. Okay?
It's fun. It's about a mobster who's trying to go clean.
Trying to go clean, and this is Stallone, unlike we've ever seen him before. I mean, we know he's Italian, but he never played an Italian mobster before, as far as I know.
Or recovering Italian mobster.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, I did try.
So this
Basically, he's going clean because his father died, and there was a whole
So
promise
bad.
that was made that he was gonna try to go clean.
and he has a daughter who is in love, and he wants to marry her off, but
And his mom's somewhere in there,
and
and the cop who's
yeah,
trying to chase him.
trying to nail him for
Yeah,
being a
the guy who
monster.
played
and-
Red in that 70s show.
Yeah,
It was really fun. There was a cleaning lady. There was diamonds, stolen diamonds. There was dirty underwear.
there was
the whole.
there's
it's
a lot
funny.
of stuff happening in this movie.
Probably goes. It's 90s.
Tim, what's his name? Tim.
It probably goes for about an hour and a half. He'll remember on the next video.
Yeah.
Probably go for like an hour and a half, but it's
Tim
really
Curry.
funny.
Tim Curry is in that movie too.
Yeah.
And and he's not playing a villain, which is
Nope.
also
Strange to see somehow.
yeah. So this movie, if you've never seen it, trust me, this is a fun movie. Go see it. Do yourself a favor. You can watch this with your kids too.
Yeah,
Like
it's
this.
clean.
Yeah,
It's fun, and you're gonna be laughing through the whole thing.
definitely. So coming in number 3 is Creed as well, and I would love to talk about Creed more, but my number 1 and 2 are so much tied up.
Well, they're both
Yeah.
Rocky movies.
Yeah, they're both Rocky movies, man.
All right, so
It's
in that
Rock-
case, I'm gonna do my number 2, because my number 1 is totally. You won't even see this one coming. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay,
But it has to be my favorite Stallone movie of all time. But coming in number 3, like I said, is Creed. Coming in number 2 is Rocky. So what's your 2 and 1?
okay. My number 2
And then we can just talk
Okay.
about Rocky in general.
Sure, man. Sure. So Rocky 2 is my number 2, and Rocky is my number 1.
Okay.
Okay, so because these are the movies that not only defined Stallone for years, but still whenever you mention Stallone, the first image that comes to mind is Rocky Balboa.
It is. It really is.
And so to me, like, these movies not only have a great soundtrack and even the score, these movies tell a great story. They go for like 7 movies. These go on for 6 movies, and then the 7th one in Creed. And it's basically a story of triumph. This unknown dude gets a shot, not just at the title, but he gets a chance unlike we've ever seen before, because this dude's manager says, we're gonna find you, Apollo Creed's manager, right? He goes, we're gonna find you an unknown, we're gonna make an unknown known. But we gotta find you a good fighter, someone who can stand up to you, because there's a lot of these fighters who
But at
can,
the
but we
same
have to
time,
find them
somebody
first.
you can beat.
Yes.
Who's gonna give you maybe a little trouble in the start, but you can actually beat him because
You are the world champion, and you cannot be beat. Not by an unknown, even though we're trying to make him known. So, Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion.
it's
we
like an
see-
ultimate underdog story.
Definitely. This is the ultimate underdog story.
Comes out of nowhere, gets a shot at a championship, and wins the whole thing.
And because Rocky 1 and 2 continues right after 1, and because of the events that happen in number 1, that's why it's my number 2 movie. This isn't necessarily the movie that I love watching or rewatching. I'll watch it, but to me, number 2 cannot be seen without number 1. And you can't talk about Creed without at least first 2 Rocky movies. At least. Because stuff and friendships that happen in these movies continue to Creed. And we talked before about Stallone getting old and not making a lot of movies in his old age, but somewhere in the mid-2000s he made Rocky Balboa, which is basically Rocky 6, even though unofficially, because it was never named that. But
It was called Balboa, I think just Balboa. And I liked it until if Creed hadn't come out, Balboa would probably be there, just
Definitely.
because of the story, the way they structure it. At this point, Rocky's way out of retirement. He's old,
yeah.
overaged. He doesn't plan to box, but there's this new
And we
guy,
never-
a young kid.
And not just that, we never thought that we would see Stallone in a movie, let alone a fresh movie. And so,
Or to see another Rocky after.
yeah, so many years have gone by.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the
this
story
dude is getting
center,
old.
I mean, you know.
And so, when it comes to Creed, this happens years after Rocky Balboa, and Stallone is a supporting character in this movie. This isn't even his movie. This is Michael
It's-
Jordan's
yeah.
movie. But Rocky Balboa is such a big part of that movie that you can't talk about Creed and
You
Rocky
can't,
and
this
Stallone, you
this
have to
movie
talk
doesn't
about.
work without Stallone.
Definitely doesn't.
Even
Definitely.
if he's just going as Apollo Creed's son, if you take Rocky out of it,
Yeah,
this movie isn't even getting made.
definitely.
Because nobody cares.
Yeah, and you know how
But
much.
you put Rocky in it, all of
Yeah.
a sudden there's a story
Yeah,
there.
and you know how much I dislike. I don't like boxing movies. To me, watching them is just. I have
like to
mentally
watch them
prepare.
usually because it's some kind of some type of an underdog thing going on.
Yeah,
and
but-
it's usually always fun to watch the story.
Yeah, but and with Rocky, that's definitely the case. Much more so than some other boxing movies.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Stallone, you can't talk about Rocky. You have to talk about Rocky, and these I'm putting them at the top simply because they made Stallone who he was. And Rocky is also the first sports movie to actually be nominated for an Oscar award for the best picture. So Stallone pretty much almost won
He
an
was that
Oscar
good.
back then, and he just the acting throughout all of these movies is just amazing. So like I mean, these are the movies that show that Stallone is a great actor. And then Copland came, and then before that, the Lockup and Oscar.
Then Riot came. Then there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
He put his name out there. He did a lot of different types of movies until he settled into action.
and I think. And listen, he
And
made
among all
Philadelphia
that stuff-
famous around the world, and he's always going to be remembered for playing Rocky Balboa.
Dude's got a statue there. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah.
And among all that stuff, there comes in my number one movie. Now, this movie is also a sports movie, but this movie also almost. The only reason why this movie wasn't on my top 10 sports.
I almost put this one on the list.
The reason why this one isn't on my top 10 sports movies list is because it's here. And when I think of Stallone, this probably isn't the movie that comes to mind. A lot of people probably not just didn't watch it,
don't
but
even know
probably
about
don't know this movie exists. But to set it up for you, in 1963, now this is way back, The Great Escape came out.
it. Great movie.
Starting with Beyond, I'm not even arguing that point, man. I love that movie. I can rewatch it a zillion times and I'm still gonna love it. A bunch of POWs are trying to escape the Nazi prison camp.
Right.
Well, what's that got to do with your number one movie? My number one movie is Victory, or is also referred to as Escape to Victory.
Yeah.
Basically, they took The Great Escape, they added football/soccer, depending on where you're from, to the movie. So, here's the situation. In Second World War, you don't need to build a villain if Nazis are your villain.
Exactly.
Like, you put Nazis in the movie, everybody knows who the villain is. You don't have to set up the story, the villain
You
part
just
of the
need
story
one main
at
Nazi
all.
guy. That's all you need.
Yeah, somebody to represent the whole thing.
yeah.
But Nazis are the bad guys. You put him in the movie, you know who the bad guy is.
Exactly.
So here's the story. Same thing, Second World War, prison camp. What do? And this pulls into the longest yard storyline. Basically, Nazis, there's a lot of famous soccer player, football players if you would, locked up in different prison camps. So what they decide is to put them all together, form a
Prison team.
form a football team and have them play
The
against not the guards, but the best German players.
Yeah.
So it's not just the guards, it's creme de la creme here.
Oh,
They're
yeah, yeah,
picking
yeah,
out
true,
the
true,
best
true.
German players and they're playing it in Paris. The movie starts among Stallone, of course Stallone's there, but he starts Michael Caine, younger Michael Caine.
Oh
if you
yeah,
would.
that's true. He was the
Starts-
coach. He was the coach.
No, yeah, he was...
The
yeah.
manager, not the coach.
He was
Manager.
actually the player. So you had Pele, you had Bobby Moore, who played for Manchester United. That's all you need to know. Stallone plays the goalkeeper, and the only thing he actually wants to do is escape. So the British intelligence and the French resistance, they're trying to form a plan that will help. They will use to, during the game, they're gonna help all the players escape during the halftime. So the game starts, that's kind of the setup. The game starts, by halftime, the prisoners are in the game. There's a couple of crazy moves, you know, you have at this point you actually have famous soccer players, football players in the game, in the movie. So the stuff that happens on the field, while it might be acted out, some of that stuff is actually real deal.
Yep.
And basically, Stallone's just waiting for the halftime to get out of there, but he gets, during the locker room halftime meeting, he gets talked into returning to the field so they can actually finish the game and win. A lot of stuff happens. Pele scores a great overhead kick. The goals are phenomenal. Stallone stops a penalty. Like the last minute, the game's over.
Dude, you don't have to.
I'm spoiling the whole movie.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's that good. And basically, when the referee blows the final whistle, the whole freaking stadium just rushes into it, and everybody escapes, man.
Yeah.
It's the greatest Stallone movie ever.
And you just witnessed the whole movie in about last 2 minutes.
I just spoiled the whole thing for you. But here's the thing about the movie. It's #1 for a reason, so you go and watch it. It's gonna be like watching for the first time, even though I spoiled the whole thing. And you're gonna want to rewatch it, and then where are the VHS tape that it's on, because it's really that good. It's #1 for a reason, man.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
If I had to rewatch any Stallone movie, I'm rewatching Victory. I didn't even know this movie existed, so when I found it, I was like, no way. It's that good.
I actually remember watching this movie several years ago, man, definitely, and watching it again for this video only, I was like, oh, did I watch it? Yeah, I watched it. I remember watching this, and yeah, it's a great movie, great soccer movie too, football movie, and the only sport that I hate more than boxing, so I love watching this movie.
It's that good.
Yeah, I hate soccer, man.
It's that good. And he still loves watching this movie.
Because there are more goals in this movie than in most soccer games played today. True. So, yeah.
That's our top 10 Stallone movies. You can disagree with us. You probably disagree with us. Why would you disagree with us?
That's okay.
But we don't care.
And
this is our list.
Yeah, this is our list.
You don't like our list, you make your own list.
And tell us what your list is. And we'll agree or disagree with you and debate you, whatever you want. Just be cool about it. And yeah, Stallone is probably the first actor that we actually did the top 10 about when it comes to actors or actresses. Yeah. And to me, I didn't expect that we would actually be doing this, so I'm glad we did.
The name dropped at some point, you were like, okay, let's go with it.
Yeah, because I think most people laugh whenever they see Stallone is making an hour, he's making an hour. But I think most people also forget that this guy did a lot for the cinema than most other people did. So I think he deserves the recognition. And
he does.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to do this, man.
He might not be the best actor you see, but he's one of those, when you see him, you're gonna stop him like, I'm gonna watch this because Stallone is in it.
Yeah.
So, that's it from us. Like,
today,
comment and stuff, and you know.
Yeah, let us know what you
Brothers
think.
Disassemble.